This week on True Bloods, we cop what we well and truly deserve from the Collingwood faithful.
We do. We talk about the upcoming clash against the Port Adelaide Power, and it's all about backing it up, go again. Simply must listen episode. Let's go.
Big morale pod.
Jeez, this is the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that,
Yeah,
Mads.
riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. And we are back in the AFL Today Studio to talk about the loss to the Wussy Boy Pies, the upcoming clash against Port Adelaide and everything else, Sydney Swans. Now, joined as always, Madison Clark. How are you, Mads? How's your week been?
Hello, David. I'm well.
Big week on social media for you.
Yes. And you know what, Faithful, when you go chips in, you just have to be cognizant of what's going to happen if things don't fall your way.
That's right.
And we're certainly in a position where things didn't fall our way. I copped it thick and fast from the people that I was watching it with and various TikTok members as well, who get very angry and very personal, but that's okay. I can cop it because I'm not a wussy boy. We got soundly beaten, Deeps. We got soundly beaten.
We did. We were definitely not the better team on the night. I think we were comprehensively beaten from the coach's box.
Correct.
There was no plan B per se, Mads.
Per se, Deeps.
We just didn't have an answer. As soon as they shut off the corridor, we looked at C. We didn't have another option. We still tried to keep coming through the corridor, and eventually that led to some pretty horrendous turnovers and trying to create things that weren't there.
Yep.
And it was a frustrating watch as a supporter, but there were some glimpses of brilliance in there, don't get me wrong. It wasn't all a sad, sorry case, but it was a disappointing night overall.
Well, I'll tell you what, the problem therein lies the fact that I think we got a little bit beaten by what we know, as Kingy would say,
Yes.
because we smacked out of the midfield, smacked in clearance. I think it was 50 to 38, something like that. And that probably looks better on paper than it actually was. They got a serious run on with beating us out of the middle, and Ned Long did an absolute job, and he got sort of touted by Hoyne, I believe, Deebs,
your man,
as being someone to watch and someone who they were getting a lot of value out of when it came to winning the ball in the middle. And we probably just, as we discussed on the socials, probably paid a little bit too much attention to the great Nick Dacos, the best player in the league, although he's a wussy boy.
4, I think it was. You took Heen's head off at one stage, no free kick there, threw the arm up a few times. Sensational players, played so well, don't get me wrong, but look, a few things went his way as well.
That's right. But look, he had 34, 9,
he was
and he had 9 tackles, right? So at the end of the day, our attempt to limit his influence ended up exposing us a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And it's first time sort of JJ's been beaten like that I can remember. But at the same time, it's sort of that's where you sort of maybe JJ needed to address how he was going about it too. He was still worrying about his offensive game, and he still was getting it enough.
Still touched the footy
He was
a great
still
deal.
getting it enough, but it was nearly at the stage where it's like, we got to clamp down Dacos here and nearly sacrifice your game a little bit to nullify the influence of Nick. But he was just too good at the end of the day and got way too much of it and was effective with it when he did get it. He's just so effective with his disposal. Even some of those kicks where he was the first man sort of out of defence and they look for him, he just creates so well and really hurts you in that offensive manner.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Matt Cumming, a colleague and close friend of mine, who's a Pies supporter who I was watching it with, just kept sort of just looking over at me whenever the great Nick Dacos would hit a target or just win a hard ball. See, this is the thing when you go chips in, Deeps.
Yeah.
When you go chips in, you can't sook about copying it. You can't. And we will never do that, Faithful. We will stick by our guns. Do we think they're wussy boys? Yes. Were we beaten by a better side on the night? Yes, and they're probably going to be.
I think both of those things can still be true.
That's
you can
right.
you can definitely still be a wussy boy and a wussy club, but you can still play pretty good footy too. That's just like 1 + 1 is equaling 2 in this instant, Mads.
Mads with David Baxter. Fantastic. I wasn't expecting that this evening. Isaac Heaney.
Yes, he was back.
Fought really hard, and I was actually saying to producer Alex before Deebs, you don't want him having the impact that he did, and you lose the game. Right, he should be the cream on the top, and I was discussing this with Kurt, a colleague of mine as well. He can't be doing everything like that, and I think that was a big part of the reason that we never sort of got our regular game going, because no one really went with Isaac Heaney, right?
Yeah, and look, that's probably been a thing of the last 2 years or so. Is when Haynes has gone, he's had 3 others coming with him.
Yep.
And we talk about it most weeks, but like listening to SEN on the way in, they were talking about the difference between, Heaney being a top 5 player and us winning games.
Yep.
And it's a huge margin in Heaney's favour when he is in that top 5 rated players on the ground to when we win. It's about like sort of 80% when he is in that top 5 players. But yeah, unfortunately, with the cattle that we have out at the moment and how things are playing, both in the back line and the forward line, he just had no one to come with him. But it's good to have Heaney in this form, because we sort of started to see it last week, but that's the first game where he's really put it together, and that was, the Heaney of last year.
Yep.
Super impactful, rated through the roof, got forward, and just looked composed when he had the ball. Like that finish on the left.
Unreal.
When he kicked his second, I think it was, or was that his first goal? Can't quite remember, but just the composure he showed to get onto the left, wheel around the defender and kick the goal. That's what you need your best players doing, and it's
Correct.
a sensational thing for Haynes to be playing that type of footy.
Yeah, absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree. That's somebody who really did everything that he could to help us win the game.
That's right.
And that's where you miss someone like a J-Mac. I reckon the exclusion of Justin McInerney is probably one of our most underrated exclusions, because he provides so much going through the middle. And that's, one of those key players, him and Errol, they're the ones who can hit targets through a clogged corridor, right? And it's just not there.
Well, you know what they say, Mads.
What's that, Deebs?
The proof of the pudding is definitely in the eating, right? And it was proven last year when Juzzy was out of the side. That's when it sort of fell apart a little bit. This is Juzzy. Fell apart for us a little bit last year. And we've sort of seen we've had to battle the last 3 weeks. We did manage to get a couple of wins on the board, but Juzzy's the real glue in this side. And if we can get him, one of our best defensive runners as well, it just makes everyone a little bit better when you've got, Juzzy, I would say a top 10 player in our side, coming back in, and hopefully he can sort of be part of the catalyst to us just chalking out some wins, because that's what we require from this stage.
Have to dig deep here, David. Have to dig deep.
But David, very official.
Yes, have to dig deep. Now, I think, it's a flow-on effect, right? It's dominoes, Deebs.
Yes.
It's dominoes, because if you're short on defenders, you have Nick Blakey play a tall defender role. That limits his run. Yep. You have no Juzzy. You have no Errol. You're relying a lot on a Riley Bice, who is heavily touted, obviously, in the media and Swans fans alike.
No Malikan.
No Malikan. But you got Bice because, you look at the ways that we beat North Melbourne, right? It was a lot of our kicks taking on, breaking lines, taking risks. Because the corridor was so clogged and we didn't have those elite ball users, Bice isn't taking those risks, right?
For sure.
He goes to look inboard, nothing there, chip down the line. Or when he does, kicks to a 4-on-1, turns it over.
Yeah, look, that's the first really bad decision I've seen
Correct.
Bicey make.
And it's not a knock on him.
No.
This is just the situation that we're in currently.
He was forced into that. He was trying to create, and then he's like, I'm just going to pull the trigger and try go into the corridor,
and that's
right?
fine.
Yeah. But he'll learn from that. Look, that'll be in his tape this week, and he won't be making that decision again, I don't think. But the one concerning part for mine,
for yours, Deebs,
was the clear directive that Collingwood had on the weekend to go around the boundary, not looking the corridor, and our inability to stop the ball movement as it was coming down. They were moving it around us. And this talks to your point of the zone that you've been bringing up in the past couple of weeks, that the zone was exposed because they were just able to work their way around.
You give up territory and then all of Bud.
We've lost the Bud.
Oh, no. Do you know what's funny?
Did I even hit the table then?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Keep it running. Do you know what's funny? I've been saying to producer Alex the last couple of weeks, I'm like, you keep Bud safe because I don't know if they're making any more of them. And it's my own brethren, David Baxter, who does Buddy in. That's all right.
I'll take that to work and I'll get that fixed up for you, mate. Handy with my hands. I will get that fixed for you.
How good would that be? They are the most fragile things ever, bobbleheads. But no, there'll be plenty more out there for us, David. Don't you worry about that. Now, as you were saying.
Yes, the zone.
The zone. This is the problem. You give up territory.
Yeah.
And when you've got a team that's controlling the middle of the ground, like they were, in terms of not allowing us to go through there, it just became a little bit too easy. And that's why you've got, Bobby Hill, Jamie Elliott, Brody Myercheck kicking 3 goals each because their inside 50s were class with where they were able to get to on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. They were moving the ball well. And that was a sensational performance from Collingwood. They had personnel out as well, and they just sort of rallied and found guys to step up.
But do you think that's where they flicked the switch from a strategy point as well, because it was more tempo football than they probably usually play?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think so. And just the ability to take the ball from inside to out and get it in their ball users' hands. It's sort of the move of Steele side bottom to go inside and be that distributor out. That was the difference in the game for mine.
Absolutely, for yours, David.
And to got it out to Dacos. So it's like nearly like we talk about what Dacos was doing. We nearly had to look at what Steele was doing, and it's like, do we stop JJ doing that and then, back in a few guys to sort of go with Nick?
Does this come down to a question of sort of experience in the coach's box, do you think?
Yeah, well, there was definitely a lack of adaptation on the weekend. Yep. That's where the game was won. We really struggled clearance-wise at the centre bounce. Got smacked out of there, but it was okay around the ground. We sort of managed to even that up at stages, but we weren't able to get our game going. And one of the biggest, the huge concern, Mads, and we've been talking about this all year, is the contested marking.
Yeah.
11 contested marks to 1 on the weekend.
It wasn't good.
And this is the biggest concern that I find. I don't know how we're going to fix this.
Well, and Deebs, we were playing as tall as you could possibly play.
Sure.
Like, you can't get taller than that. I think the only one who took a contested mark was Brodie Grundy.
That one in defence,
Not known for his contested marking prowess. So, Noah Marty now. Logan's not really known for contested marking.
No, it's not his game.
Guys, sorry. I'm reminded of something. Hayden.
The DOS.
He had a bit of the Wilbers about him on the weekend, didn't he? Because
he did.
Why? Just get him out there. Faithful. Get them out there.
There were 2 of them where he was Jukes out in front.
Why are you trying to chest mark
the chest mark when they able to defend? But the biggest coach killer was that terrific bit of play at the start of the fourth quarter. Tommy's wheeled a bit of work magic. Tommy McCartan got out of the contest and chiseled out the picture-perfect 45, 50-metre pass in between 2 Collingwood defenders, and it's just straight through Doss's breadbasket. Yeah. It's just like, if he takes that, has a shot, we're within 17 points and the narrative could change, but...
See, it's just things like that make you go, it's not your night. That one, I think it was at the start of the third quarter when, we were down by about 3, maybe 4 goals, but we were still very much in it up to our eyeballs, right? We were at that point, we were matching it with them in terms of the sort of intensity around the ground. Yep. And Wilbur just got that handball in play, run around. This bread and butter for Wilbur.
Yes.
Bread and butter. And he just pulls it.
Hooked it too far.
I would have bet my life on the fact that he puts it through. Yeah. I'm glad I just shut my mouth because that is literally I'm confident if you asked him, he would say, that's where I'm most confident kicking for goal.
Yeah, they're the moments, right? And there's two huge moments in the game when the game was on the line and we just weren't able to execute. But at the same time, it was 29 scoring shots to 18. Everything can change with a little bit more scoreboard pressure. I don't think we got enough good looks at it. And, as soon as Armadi went down, Armadi, I'm trying so hard.
Who's pinged you on that?
I can't remember. There's someone on Instagram.
Armadi.
As soon as Armadi went down, our structures fell apart.
It took it from a barely functioning forward line to a dysfunctional forward line for mine, Deebs.
For yours, Mads. Yeah, it was dysfunctional. And look, we'll talk about it in the social seg, how we can go about rectifying that this week. But it's definitely having a key position player go down. Looks like Joel's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks at this stage.
I'm not. I don't have the medical degree that you have, David. But I can tell you that I could tell you at the ground on the Friday night that he was going to be out for a while.
Yeah, shocking call from the commentary team. Little whack for the commentary team.
Oh,
why did they ever think that was a corky? Right? Yeah, I have never seen.
Did they say it was a corky?
Yeah, I've never seen someone subbed off instantly with a corky.
And it's Joel Amati, the king of the soft tissue.
King of soft tissues. Like we were thinking, as soon as he went off, we knew that's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we probably don't see him before the bye.
That's right.
You want him to really get. We know the history he's had. We need him to be right. He's crucial to how we set up.
Yep.
And it's really disappointing to lose Joel.
It is disappointing. It's really disappointing. I mean, he has his detractors. He's a polarising figure. But the fact of the matter is, we are running out of players. We are running out of players. We can't afford any more injuries. Harry Cunningham's just pinged a calf.
32 years old.
It's hard to...
And they've put 6 weeks on it straight away.
It's hard to come back from.
It's really hard. Fingers crossed for Harry that he can do the work, get back, and that's just really not the setback that we needed. We've talked about people shoring us up, and I think McLean's done that to a degree since he came back in. But, yeah, the loss of Harry not coming back in, it's a big loss, and it won't be spoken about in the media as it should be, but it's a huge loss for us.
Yeah, for sure. It's not good at all. Hey, I want to talk about Chad Warner.
I was just about to bring him up. Yes.
So... he's had 24. He's had 3 tackles.
What did you think of his game?
Well, it's funny. The stats probably don't support what I thought of the game. I thought he was, and it actually probably makes me feel a little worse about it. Now, there was the understanding that he was sick the week before.
Yep.
I don't know if he was still sick. He just couldn't impact the game. Now, I thought that was because he was spending...
on the AFL app?
I am.
Can you check his stats from the third and fourth quarter?
Yeah,
just possession-wise?
I can. So, third he had 4.
Yeah.
And fourth he had 7.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, so...
6 and 7 the first 2. So, he gets into halftime,
with 13.
Yeah, with 13.
Yeah.
So, it's not from a disposal perspective, it's not that bad. He just was not in any way, shape, or form damaging. It did have 3 score involvements.
Yeah,
but I needed to see him lift to that next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to go along with hands, right? And that's what we need at the moment to win these games is these guys to chuck us on their backs and find a way to win. Look, I always give Chad a little bit of leniency. I thought his game was okay. He had his moments.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was better than I thought. It was primed for someone like him to rip it open.
Yeah,
right?
and I think when he had the opportunities, he executed well. Like that, there was that one where he lowered the eyes coming inside 50,
Correct.
Hit him up, and I thought he got going with his clearance game a little bit. He was pretty good out of stoppage.
Had 5 clearances.
Yeah, and and that's the thing, but. This is what's going to happen. It's sort of like Isaac Heaney effect as well, right? It's like when they're not tearing apart games and winning them for us, people come for you hard. And I think
it's just because you rate them so highly.
Exactly right.
And when you feel like you're missing some of that elite talent, you just look to guys like Chad, like Isaac, to go to that next level.
Yeah.
Right? Like take, for instance, the GWS final.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
That's how he got across the line.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that was, a little bit annoying. But yes, statistically, not a bad game. I'll tell you who I did enjoy, his younger brother, Corey Warner.
Yeah. Look, you're a big Corey man.
Big Corey man.
What did he have on the weekend?
Kicked 2 snags.
He had the 2 snags. I'm just needing him to slightly go to more of a level, but it's hard with how it's unfolding at the moment. It's hard for these guys to step up.
I find it critical that he takes opportunities like that, because if you recall the last couple of years, we're like, you need to impact the scoreboard when you're getting the opportunity, and he did on the weekend.
He had that nice snap out of the pack
in a time that it was end-to-end, wall-to-wall, really tiring football that you need to stay in touch with the opportunities that you get. And he was a key component of that. For sure.
What do you think of Brodie Grundy?
I was exactly what I was about to say.
Very good,
David. I thought he battled hard. Now he lost the hit outs.
Yeah,
got beaten. Sort of. He got.
No, he had 37.
Oh, I'm looking at that wrong. Sorry.
No, you won them.
But he, again, what I was watching around the groundwork, he battles.
Yeah.
He halves contests now. And that's what I felt was missing, and he's completely addressed that.
Who did you think took the honours on the night?
It was very, very, very close.
Close, yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, there's a ruckman voting thing going on SEN today.
Did Darcy kick a goal? No, he missed the shot.
He did. Yeah. I think it was, they were like the 3 and 2 out of 5 votes. They had Cameron slightly ahead of Brodie, but I thought Brodie sort of had him a little bit within the contest. I thought Brodie was a little bit better, and a few more hit outs. So personally, I would have given the win to Broads. I think he's been really good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
But unfortunately, we just didn't quite have the cattle going along with Haynes and Brodie, and they're our probably best 2 on the weekend.
This is the age-old problem. Because it comes back to the fact that we do not have the personnel required in a game like that.
Yeah.
To gain ascendancy.
Yeah, and I think this comes back to the form. I'm a big form line guy this year. It's all about the form lines, right? Yeah, we look back to how we played against North.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can read too much into that second half and rolling over the top of them.
And I don't think we really did, right? We knew this would be a completely different kettle of fish.
We did. It's not like we were expecting huge things, but I just think you've got to be reminded of what's going on with our footy club at the moment, how many important injuries we've got. But I really do think the likes of Malik and Juzzy and the other guys coming back in are really going to shore us up, and hopefully we can get back to that sort of Freo type game where we may not necessarily be playing our best footy, but we've got to find a way to turn it on for 5-10 minutes, get some scores on, and win games of footy. That's got to be the goal at the moment. And
how many goals do you think is possible to score as a team at the moment?
Every game's different, Mads, but you got to be kicking at least 13 to win a game.
I would think so.
Like
I would think so. Even in a bang average scrap, you still got to be in that 11 to 13 range. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
So got to just get gutsy. Got to get gritty.
You do, and there were just a few too many losing their matchup, right?
Yes.
It's like Wixie got beaten. That's probably the first time he's been beaten this week, this year. The guys up back. Now that I want to talk about the down back and up forward.
Hit me.
Now I'm going to explain it to you. I don't know if you remember in your underage footy days, Mads, but you get the board, right? And it starts at the back line.
Yes.
Right, and comes down to your forward line.
Yes.
So it's down, forward, up, back.
Okay.
Right? That's the theory. It came to me during the week. And I was like, I'm going to talk about this on the pod. And I was like, then Clarko might actually understand what I'm going.
Okay,
And that's where it's come from.
That makes
That's
you
where
reckon that's where it's going. So you're down forward.
You're down forward because you're on
And
the
you're
board.
up back.
And you're up back.
Yeah, you understand how it makes no bloody sense. Aside from that, right?
I do, but there's just a reason
No,
why.
that makes sense. Have you had someone advise you of that, or have you just sort of been sitting in the van, sort of going to a job, and you've gone, hang on a minute?
Well, it's just you know when I'm talking about it, it just comes out. I'm not even thinking about it. And I was like,
correct.
there has to be a reason to why this is. And it came to me. And you look at the board, all those years are underage footy,
Jared McVeigh.
kicking bags of goals, all the good times, back when times were good, Mads. And that's why it is.
Okay, there you go. Note it down, faithful. Change
back.
your lexicon.
That's
and,
it.
We
Your
will
lyrical
move from there.
prowess.
Yeah. Lyrical prowess. That is one way to call it.
Very
one
good.
thing to call it. So at the end of the day, I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with down back and down forward and up back.
That's right.
What I'm not comfortable with is the personnel at the moment.
Yes.
And we're going to have to, as I said, we're going to have to be gutsy Deeps.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be gritty bloods footy.
It is.
Because, we're just going to have to find a way. Because as we said, if we can halve the wins and losses at the bye.
Get through the bye.
Get through to the bye. And then we have King Errol just riding over the horizon with his crown on horseback.
Sun glistening
yes, which would be something similar to the Crusades. But as we know, King Arthur was not in the Crusades historically.
Yes,
but everything will get better. This is just a storm that we're going to have to weather, faithful. And you're gonna cop some of these games like we had against Collingwood, where it can be a bit frustrating to watch because we're so used to the polish of the Sydney Swans Football Club that we hang our hat on. But we're just gonna have to find another way, and it's a lot of it is gonna have to come down to system, Deebs, and that's the coaching panel are gonna have to really look into the next few weeks because there's some tough. Every game's a tough game. But, I mean, post-Port, who are coming off a massive win, we've also got Gold Coast.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
At their home. Not good. So we got to figure something out.
Yeah, it's a real learning curve for Coxie. It's like, I think on the weekend, it didn't quite look adaptive enough.
Yes.
It was sort of not quick enough to changes. It's like the only thing we saw was Tommy getting thrown forward out of necessity, right? Amadi went down and, Tommy was in there. But, look, these are the things we're going to learn. It's all about your expectation. We're up against it at the moment, but this is where you find out what your footy club's made of and what this side of players is made of.
Correct.
Because we're battling. We're definitely not down and out. There's still plenty of life in this season. But
do not throw in the towel by any means necessary. I mean, that is we are.
There is
far
a
from
few
dead.
throwing out the towel.
That's wussy boy.
It is.
That's wussy boy. We can't have that. We can't be known for that. Right? That is wussy boy. Did you cop much from Collingwood supporters?
A little bit. It's more in the work areas. My personal friends were actually pretty good.
Sure.
I don't think they saw the social clips going around, so that was a good thing.
Well, there you go. I mean, if you don't know we're saying it, it's hard to gob shit for it. But Matt Cumming, it's funny. That was an
entertaining phone call post game.
He's as diehard as they come.
Yeah,
he's as diehard as they come.
But he's got brain in it.
No, he does. He's got a great footy brain. He has a tendency to sort of he's a Collingwood supporter, right? So, most things are ball, but he was so polite. He was so polite watching the game, and has nothing but respect for the Bloods, but not there aren't as many people of the same cool head as Matt coming on TikTok because God, it is the Wild West out there. It is.
You live and die by the sword.
You live and die by the sword.
We're more than happy to cop it as long as
come at us.
As long as the Jews come back when we're right as well.
Yeah.
Get around us too.
Shall we have a break?
Yeah, we'll leave it there, Mads. We'll jump into the socials and that'll wrap us up.
Welcome back to True Bloods. David,
Yes, Madison.
how are you?
Good to be back with you.
It's good to be
Even
back.
after
isn't it?
having a loss, I really enjoy. I look forward to it on my Tuesdays.
Likewise.
I've been getting around the countryside this week, Mads, and just knowing that on a Tuesday night I get to come in and talk to you, mate.
Yes.
It's great. Talk our Swanee boys, even though it's not quite going how we wanted it to go so far this
Let
year.
me tell you about the Swanee boys.
That's it. Shout
It's
out to
not-
Ruthie.
Shout out Ruthie from Caulfield. It's not good, but it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Exactly right. You do need to, we're a very blessed supporter base with how successful we have been in the last 25 to 30 years. And I think at times we can lose sight of that sometimes, the general supporter base, Mads. And it's important to, when it's not all but rosy and rainbows and, all those nice
Rosy
type
and rainbows.
of roses.
Yeah, sure.
Rainbows.
Well, I mean, look. Here's the thing: we're a peculiar supporter base and team in that regard, right? Because while it seems like we've had a sustained amount of success over a period of time, which don't get me wrong, we've been successful, but having the hard thing that leaves us in a bit of limbo as a supporter base is we haven't had that ultimate glory since 2012.
Yeah, it makes us in a unique position.
There's no varying degrees of uniqueness. It is a unique position. You're right about that, Deebs. Or should I say David?
Jeez, I feel like I'm in trouble here at the...
Oh, there goes but again. But the fact of the matter is, we are in limbo because you don't have a recent premiership to fall back on, and it's hard to just keep going back to those awesome finals wins. But I would encourage everyone to stick fat because we have a really talented list. Nothing, as we've seen over time this season, we haven't really lost any significant talent from our list, right? We've made some changes that are probably going to put us in a better position, and we just have to grin and bear it for the time being until we get some cattle back, because there's no point jumping off now. Guys, this is the polar opposite to what we experienced last year. This is a situation where we're going to have to get gritty. What did Simon Goodwin say? What did he say?
I don't know.
What
mate.
was it? Was it stay calm but get urgent? I don't think we need to do that. But ridiculous, isn't it?
It just talks to that footy club.
Yeah. But fundamentally, we're in a position where we can slowly get players back and get into a situation where we start to hit some form at the right time of the year. Now, I'm not a big subscriber of, we don't want to be good at the start of the year. I think you want to be good all the time. But,
sure.
I mean, you can hit form at the right time, and we probably didn't have that last year. And there's still a chance that will be the case this year. So do not jump off. Do not be a wussy boy. We are fine.
That's right.
We just need to dig
inspirational words from Big Clarko over to my left. That's what we need sometimes as supporters. It's stick fat, and then it makes the good times all the more better.
It certainly does. Now, what do we love, Deeps?
We love social engagement.
Love a little bit of social engagement from the faithful. Hashtag Ask the Faithful. The Amati Party has gone down with the hammy. 4+ weeks at a minimum, one would have thought. We are back to the conundrum we had in the first couple of weeks of footy with the forward line. How he's structuring up. Malikan looks likely to come back in. McLean down forward, obviously. Does T-Mac get swung back forward? Handling maybe to keep Tommy up back. Jesus. Player Logan potentially underdone. Best answers to be featured on the pod.
That's right, Mads.
No prize for guessing who wrote that one. Well done, David.
You just got to get the faithful thinking, put all the possibilities out there.
Absolutely. Want to go to your thoughts first and foremost.
My thoughts, what would I do if I was in the selection committee?
What would you do if you were in that coach's box?
Yeah, look, for mine.
For yours.
I would definitely not be playing Logan McDonald. I'll actually be pretty filthy if he's picked this week. Now, I know it's definitely in the train of thought of the selection committee. It was sort of mentioned in the post presser, I'm pretty sure, that sort of the conundrum got thrown up. What's going to happen with Marty going down? But I would personally be not playing Logan. Another game in the VFL. Bring him back next week. Or I'm a T-Mac guy down forward.
He's a big T-Mac guy.
I'm a big
Down
T-Mac
forward.
guy down forward. Malikan goes back. He comes in, shores up the back line. And, Liz has still got to cover that second big. That's sort of... Well, you got Hamling as well. That's what you got to remember.
See, that was going to be my question. We know I'm a big fan of the great Joel Hamling's
You're
boot.
a big fan of his right boot.
I just think there's... I don't know. I haven't seen it. I didn't know what he looked like until a couple of weeks ago. So I wouldn't mind seeing him up forward, down forward.
Down forward.
Down forward.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely... This is the thing that we saw with Horse last year, right? Coaches pencil people in positions.
Yeah.
I got no doubt about that. And I think Coxie said, nah, Joel Hamling's a key back. That's why he's coming in as a key back. Am I personally against him going down forward? Absolutely not. I'd personally love to see it. And if I was in there, if you threw it to her, I would like to see Hamling go forward. But do I think that's going to happen? No.
No. Deebs, do you know what it would reek of if Logan played senior football?
Desperation.
Panic and desperation.
Yep.
I don't think it's required.
Just not quite yet. Unless if it fell apart this week in the forward line, then it's like, you got to try something, right? And we with Marty last week, it wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
It went when he went down and you were forced to throw it around. But Malikan shores up that back line and that changes the dynamic compared to after halftime last week.
It does.
That's,
who are their key forwards? You got Todd Marr. No. He's
Marshall's out.
Georgiadis.
Yes, he's the big one.
Who else is there?
I'd have to have a look at the list, mate. I haven't gone that
The
far.
great Jed McEntee.
Yes, sure.
Sam Pepper's
Playing as a small...
back in form. He's playing as a small forward. Now, Willie Rioli won't be playing. So I'm just thinking...
Is he going to be out?
Yeah, he's out. He's taken leave.
I think he'll play.
I
I knew he's
he'll
away
play.
from the club, but...
I don't reckon he'll play.
Sure.
I don't reckon he'll play.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's an interesting forward line that we're taking on. So when you
Yep.
talk about structuring it up, so you bring in Malikan, it still doesn't really release the Lizard because you're in a situation that Tom McCartan's gone forward. So
Yep.
Lizard's still having to play tall.
Yeah, but look, they don't look overly tall by what we look like. You'd still have Malikan and Hamling to take the two bigs. And, Lizard is always still the third chopping out. And not having Tommy back there, definitely not released as much, but you can still see the Lizard having the license to be able to get off when he's not one of the two big guys.
Yes.
That's how I'd see it.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we'll get down.
What's your opinion on it?
As
If you had the final say, where would you be going with selection?
As I said, I would bring in Malikan.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a done deal, really, if he's ready to go.
And I would actually play. I would try Hamling forward.
Forward.
But if it's not working, I would change it. I would change it mid-game. I'm not so arrogance, not the word, but I'm not so set in my thoughts
ways,
or ways that I wouldn't just be able to be agile. That's what I've never understood. And maybe it'd be good to understand from any coaches out there why there is this lack of adaptation sort of, during the game. Because there's always, and I'm not saying it's just a Dean Cox thing, it's always been the way. You know?
And I think...
But I mean, I would love to see Hamling have a crack at it. I know he was playing down forward in the VFL.
Yeah,
for
well,
us.
we saw it, and he was effective at it. We obviously had no options down forward. Geez, we're playing that up this week, aren't we? We had no options in the VFL, and Hamling played forward.
Correct.
And he was successful. He kicked bulk goals. I think he was our leading goal kicker last year in the VFL.
Yes.
You've got Jack Buller, who's a little bit out of form. I
Yes.
think he played well against Collingwood. He actually played really well.
There was no VFL game, was there?
Correct. There was the Vic v SA.
What a waste of time.
Exactly right. And the other option is Logan, but I really don't want to see Logan this week.
No, I think that is just asking for another injury and, more weeks.
Yeah.
That's silly. I don't think it's required. As I said, that is panic.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of the faithful.
We'll go with Gilla.
Oh,
We
Gilla.
haven't heard from Gilla for a little while, so that's good.
For mine,
He goes, T-Mac starts forward with Malikan coming back into the team. If we get owned in our D50, swing T-Mac back and small ball up forward. Might even look like Haynes out of the square. I think Logs has one more week to go in the resis to be safe. Also interesting to see what we do with Sheldrick this week as Juzzy is back. Think he'll be stiff to be dropped, but he has looked good as a sub the past 2 weeks.
he looked okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a really hard thing to do 3 weeks in a row.
Incredibly hard thing to do. We used to curse them when it was Corey and Dylan. Yeah. It's a bloody hard thing to do.
It is. You're just getting no continuity and you're not getting the match minutes into your legs either. So I would like to see I'd probably like to see him stick with Sheldrick.
Yeah.
And I've got no issues personally with, say, a Cleary coming out of the side or something like that. That's how I would tend to go.
Do you still keep Laddams in there?
It's interesting talking point, Big Pete. What did you think of his game on the weekend?
He's still moved around nicely.
Yeah, well, he's definitely got confidence in what he can do.
I think
can't
so.
He? But
yeah.
I think it's gone a touch too far. Now he's trying to take on the game when it's not required. Pistol is not the player.
Not the player that
just
needs
to create
selling candy.
And taking it. And look, I came off one of the 5 times I reckon he went to. There was a nice one where he got around the back and ended up in a nice handball chain.
Handball down on the boundary.
Exactly
that's right.
Right. It came off once, but it's not going to come off when your ruckman's trying to do that all the time. I think Pistol needs to just go back to the fundamentals of his game.
Well, take a contested mark. Lord knows we're not taking
throw yourself at the ball, right? That's what I want to see. I just need him to play within his means, and I think he sort of got a bit outside that on the weekend.
Yeah.
For mine.
For yours. Interesting.
Pistol. You picking Pistol this week? I do think it's releasing Grundy, though. So that's where the overarching factor.
I probably am.
Yep.
I probably am, just because, well, we're going to be down a tall. We're going to bring a tall in. I don't know. Yeah, I don't mind him. He can kick a goal. It's such a hard call.
Yeah.
It's such a hard call.
It is. It's going to be a really interesting week at selection.
I'm glad we've got it this early in the season. One of these weird ones, because it's going to be horses for courses.
For sure.
But I think the only way we lose is if we pick Logan.
For sure.
Like, not lose the game, but just lose at selection. I just don't see the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Dylan Kappa on the Fusser books.
Yep. You'll be okay.
Tom got to stay back, in my opinion. He plays his best footy there and let our small players kick goals from chaos in the forward line. Long bombs won't work against Port with bigger Sava and Aaliyah there, and that is a good point. I think people underestimate how big Justin McInerney is to the team. His run and carry will help us heaps. Forward, I'm thinking Big Doss, full forward, McDonald, centre half forward, Hayward, Hanley, Warner, Campbell to Crum. Expose them with the short passes on the 45 rather than the bombs in. And we're right, or even some chaos balls will work. Lowering the eyes is something that we always want, right? I think it's just, again, a personnel issue that we're not doing that. But if we can get back to that, Tom Hanley's a player, man. Player.
Yeah, with you. Wholeheartedly with you.
So, and Will Hayward's finding some form as well. Now, can I just say, we didn't mention him in the first sec. That kick that Braden Campbell had for goal was one of the best kicks I've ever seen. Have you ever seen a straighter kick?
It was gun barrel, wasn't it?
It was straight. Gun barrel straight. Bobbing like a cork in the ocean. It was unbelievable. He's one of the best kicks in the league, Deebs.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I've got a whack here.
Oh, who are you whacking?
I'm whacking Delandy.
Delandy.
Over on your Instagram.
The name's so nice. They named him twice.
It says, boys, is it really that hard to upload a picture that isn't from a 2006 Nokia?
Hey.
Now, Big Dill.
Hey. Dill.
Big deal. If you can tell me where you can get some AFL photos these days, they used to be readily available.
Readily available.
Thank you, Mads.
No worries.
On the Sydney Swans app, but they no longer upload them until like 2 weeks after the game, and that doesn't quite work with the timeframes that we're working with here, Dill. So give me a chop out. I'm bloody trying my best, and
photo?
it's just the old screenshot job. It's
sure.
not the worst one.
No,
Look,
well,
it's
if you
definitely
don't,
not.
you only notice it if you zoom in.
Yeah, and I'm
Are you some sort of photographer or some sort of graphic designer?
Nah. Come on,
I'll tell you
Dills.
what, we are hustling here, Dill. Give us a spell, Dill.
We've got an injury list that's longer than Madison Clark's arm, and you're whacking us about photo quality over on your Instagrams. It's just not quite what we need at the moment, Dill.
Dill, we're trying our best.
But getting back to footy talk, he says McCartan forward for mine.
For yours.
With Logan coming back in as well. He says HC7 and Pelican. Who's HC7? Harry Cunningham. 7.
Harry Cunningham.
Not playing. He's I'll get your information updated, Dylan. You're behind. He's out for 6 weeks with a calf injury. Get it updated, Dylan. And the Pelican back in. Yes, I think he will be back in.
Yes, he'll be back.
But nah, it's all in good fun, Dill. We love you contributing over on your Instagrams. Thanks for that.
Don't know if I like you. I like you.
But do you like playing footy? Have you got anything else
I do.
for us, Mads?
I do. I'm sweating.
Oh,
Marty Kuning.
Yes.
I hope I'm saying that right.
Yes.
We've made many mistakes with our tools. We haven't recruited well and haven't utilised the trade period to our advantage.
Sure.
Sound like the great Ali Habak, who it's trade period every day for Ali. We're in desperate need for a key forward. No offence to Marty, but he's not the answer going forward. He's put a line through him.
Done.
I hope I'm wrong, and apologies to anyone this might offend. That's okay. You can speak your mind. I think he'd be better utilised down back. I've always said that. As a diehard Swans fan of 30 years, I'm struggling with our team at the moment. Where has the Bloods culture gone? I'm sorry, but as a whole, I don't see it at the moment. Hardball gets contested possessions, contested marks, just not seeing enough of it. There are individuals that shine, don't get me wrong, but there is no iron team. That's my rant done. Now, Marty, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
Completely understand where you're coming from. However, what I think we as a collective, as a bevy of Blood supporters,
Yes.
Deebs,
Sure.
or sort of some sort of paddling of Swan supporters, a bank, if you will, an undisclosed Big Four bank.
Big Four, yes, absolutely.
We have a tendency to remember when you think about Blood's culture, and I think most people go to sort of like 03, 05, look, and even into the flags, just with sort of Adam Goods floating around, with Mickey O floating around, Brett Kirk, Barry Hall. Now, we look back on that fondly, like every single game. We won the tackle count and the contested ball count and won every game. It's simply not true. You can't do that week in, week out. What fundamentally should happen here, and this is Blood's culture. This is digging deep. When your personnel's down and when you've gotten beaten by a side like Collingwood, is to address the mistakes and come out even harder. I mean, when you look at Blood's culture, look at the game against Freo, right? Look at how he cracked in against the Lions. Okay, it's absolutely there, but as I said, we can't. Well, I'm not going to be operating on a week-by-week proposition where I throw the toys out of the cot when we lose and think we're going to win the flag when we win. It's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems.
Yes.
But
the
the situation is we have to make those particular categories that we had our colours lowered in better this week. It's incremental uplift with the personnel that we've got available.
And sorry, who was that over? Who were we talking to?
This is Marty.
Marty. What I would say to Marty is you got to evolve, simply have to evolve with the times, Mads. You have a look at a club at the moment like the Demons, right?
Yes.
They are still relying on contested ball, win it out of the middle. That's how we're going to kick our goals, right?
Yep.
And that, look how that's playing out for them now. The writing's been on the wall since they've lost, back-to-back straight sets exits, before last year. So that's what, 2023.
Correct.
Right? And they haven't evolved, and look at what's happened to them now.
Evolve or die, Marty.
And that's what we aren't the Bloods of 2005. The brand of footy is not the same as Bloods
couldn't
footy.
be more different.
Has to, and that's what the culture within the club. We were around the club a lot last year. That it's as strong as it's ever been, right? That's what I can tell you. It looks different on field, but it evolves with time. That's what I would say.
No, that's right. That's right. You know, Deebs and I found it palpable being there last season. You know, I would struggle to see how it was any more of a tight, sort of conducive environment to a high-performing football team, even back in 2005 and 2012 that it is now.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just us. But yeah, I would challenge you, Marty, to you know, our tools. We're struggling with our tools, right?
Yeah.
And I think tools take a little bit longer to develop. Logan's an interesting one. There's a lot of injury there, right? We'll see how it plays out. I mean, it's just something. We're in a good position now where we can actually try a few things and suck it and see, if you will, Marty.
For sure. Go with one more. Over on your Twitters, the ever-reliable Saundo.
Yeah, sure.
He goes with the injuries, while bad, are not so dire that we need to rush Logan back.
Correct.
For mine, boys.
For yours, Saundo.
Hamlin keeps his spot and Malikan returns to face Georgiades. McCartan can at least take a contested mark down the line, so he plays forward with Doss and Eshe to quell Alir's influence.
Yeah, like it.
So, yeah, that's sort of a bit of what we were saying. And, look, it's probably going to be a little bit of column A, little bit of column B.
Horses for courses.
Horses for courses, Mads. We don't know if we'll get it right. But
we don't always get it right.
We don't always get it right. But,
we care.
I reckon I'm going to have a crack at the predicted team.
Sure. I'd love
this
that.
week.
I'd love to see you do that.
I think I went with it Saturday morning when I was having my coffee after, you know, everyone was blowing up post Friday night with what was going to happen. But look, we might have a crack at the predicted team, and yeah, it's been a good conversation, Mads.
Love it.
It's good to have the faithful engaged with us online.
And with that, we'll be back for the preview for the game against Port Adelaide. Adelaide.
Welcome back to True Bloods.
I tell you what, Deebs.
Yes, Mads.
We play a Port Adelaide side that we defeated by 95-59 in the preliminary final.
Yes.
And then we proceeded to get 3 orders of Uber Eats the day after and not leave the couch.
In our humble abode in Bondi Beach, looking
what
over.
A day. What a day.
That'll go down in history.
We did not leave the couch.
And geez, we barracked hard for Geelong in that prelim. We were like, come on, give us the ultimate chance. Give us the chance. Didn't quite come to fruition, but we tried our best.
Do you know what's funny? Against Port, leading disposal getter, Errol Goulden, top goal scorers, Tom Papley and Joel Amati.
Yeah.
None of them are playing, ladies and gentlemen, so start thinking differently.
That's it.
So who are you inviting to the party? It's Doozy. It's at the SCG for the first time in how many bloody days? Almost a month, over a month?
Yep.
Outrageous. Who are you inviting to the Bill O'Reilly?
Over into the Bill O'Reilly for a doozy with the boys.
The boys.
Boys. Who am I inviting? I'm going to go with one of your men.
One of my men.
Yes.
They're all my men, but who specifically?
I reckon I nailed it with Haynes last week. He came to the party, so that was good.
Wow.
So I'm in form, faithful.
Who did I ask? Wilbur?
Yeah, someone like that. I think you started to talk.
We should really keep track of it and hold each other accountable.
We should, but I'm going to go with the Liz.
Liz.
Malikan back, Hamling playing. Lizard gets going at the SCG through the middle. I'm going 550 plus meters gained. I am going 7+ handball receives. And a goal.
He's constructing a multi on air.
These are the indicators that you look for when the Liz is up and going.
Key performance indicators.
Well, I think you're familiar with them at the Big Four Bank. So, yes, we'll go with the KPIs for the Liz. That's who I'm going with, Mads. For yours.
Liz, for mine. Tommy McCartan.
Tommy,
because I know he'll go forward, and I'd love to see him just Give him the old Bailey Smith, Yeah,
Now,
come
Matt,
on.
I've actually been waiting for this one. It's a bit of a lingual thing with yourself.
Oh, wow. Hit me.
Yes. You say playing forward. It's forward. It's just a... Yeah,
Interesting.
it's a forward.
So you're saying my pronunciation of it would be not including the W.
Correct. It would be referring to the car
Forward.
brand.
So you are enunciating.
It's an enunciation. Forward. He's going forward.
Forward.
I think it's just something for you to work on.
Yeah, no, and I'll happily take the feedback on. It's not often the feedback comes that way.
It's just nice to reverse a little bit.
I like it. I like it. I could get used to it.
We're all about improving here at True Bloods, and trust me, there's a lot of things that come across my desk where I'm asked to improve, and I always try my best.
Incremental uplift is what we're after.
That's what we do here at True Bloods. Oh no,
it's very good stuff.
That's good stuff. But yes, I think Tommy goes forward.
Yeah, forward. He will kick 3 goals.
Oh, that would be huge for us, wouldn't it?
Would be massive. Absolutely. Dead set massive.
Yeah.
It's what we're here to do.
It's what we're here to do.
Hey, so I don't reckon Willie Rioli plays.
Yeah, I reckon he probably does.
How much do you take out of that game in Grenache? Firstly, just generally, the AFL for mine, dude.
For yours, Mads.
Oh, Ken Hinkley, 20K.
Yeah.
Because, and probably even a bit of interest on top, because you cannot, on one hand, find the man, and then in the other, just sort of edit clips together, promoting your final game of Gather Round. It's outrageous.
Say you're not going to use it for promotion, and then that is the only thing you use for promotion.
It is just unfathomable, and speaks to how rank amateur our league is. I can't believe it. Surely that's like, come on.
That 20K's already probably spent somewhere.
On marketing, I'll tell you that much.
I don't think you'll be getting that back, but I 100% agree with you. Now, some of the big move that we probably saw with Port Adelaide was
Connor Rozee.
Rozee going back onto half back and being damaging and effective and playing a really good game, and even intercepted well. He had a few intercept marks, and do I think we need to pay specific attention to him? I'm not sure. You can't
tag everyone.
I'm not sure, but you got to be wary that he's playing at halfback. I think they caught Hawthorn on the fly with that.
Haywood.
That's it.
Haywood. Play a role, Haywood.
Yes.
Haywood.
You're an ideas man. We sort of, it's funny. It's something that doesn't come to me straight away in a slightly defensive role is Wilbur playing that role, but he did it so well against Sicily in opening round. It's a great point you bring up.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's the move. As I said, you've got a really, really competent midfield that is playing well under where they should be currently.
Agree.
I don't know if you necessarily have a traditional tagging role on anyone, but everybody's got to be accountable. You've got to be accountable for Zach Butters. You've got to be accountable for Horn Francis.
Yeah.
Because they can smack you.
Yeah.
They can absolutely tear you apart. And you see Butters, was that his first time back in 6 weeks? Was that his first game back, or was it the week before?
Rozee.
No, Butters. He's been injured.
Back in the team?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
He's
been back a couple weeks.
He's ferocious.
Yeah, and you talk that ferociousness.
Yes.
I'm sending JJ to him.
You're sending JJ to Zach Butters?
Straight to Butters. I just think we've seen the effectiveness of JJ utilised to its utmost when he gets the role. Call him Butter, Mads.
Call him Butter. He's
getting a role.
I hope that is the case, because what that'll mean, and that's, I'm not saying just blanket him. You win your own footy as well. But a level of accountability is great for JJ, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where he flourishes. You're absolutely right. But that will show us that the coaching panel isn't panicking, and it's not a week-to-week proposition for them. It's a body of work, because if you don't see him having a role, if you see his role change, that'll disappoint me a little bit.
Yeah.
you know, because it's something that he does well. It's the first time he's gotten really smacked.
That's it. Play him to their strengths. Everyone's going to have a down day every now and then, and I think we back JJ in to quash Butters.
Yeah, they've got a few people that rotate in there, you know.
Yep.
I was speaking to my good friend Kurt Brandt today, who's a big Port Adelaide supporter. You know, there's a Jackson Mead that floats through there. There's an Ollie Wines. There's Boak.
Yeah.
So they're a very capable team. This is my point.
Plethora of players.
A plethora or plethora, depending on how you want to say it, Deeble. That's out there for you. Either way, either pronunciation of the word is out there for you, should you wish to sort of enunciate it.
We are a big lingual pod. Huge lingual pod. Loving it.
It's ridiculous. But I'm genuinely... I've always been big raps for Port Adelaide.
Yep.
And I think they're playing, people are underestimating them at the moment. And I think it's going to be a really good test for us because I think they're going to be full of confidence. But I think fundamentally it's a situation where we have to really slow down their ball movement. We have to do essentially what Collingwood did to us.
Yeah. You can't let them run and gun and get through the guts.
You can't. Yeah. And if it goes back to real fundamental basics, what we were saying we needed to do in, 2019, 2020, just halve the contested possessions, halve clearances, tackle. Low kicks.
Yeah.
Get back to fundamentals and try and control the game, make them defend. You limit. I mean, their forwards. Georgiades is actually playing really well. But as you say, Malikan, great role for Malikan.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to bring up. It's Malikan straight to Georgiades.
Has to be.
You get. There's a role out there for him.
There's a role out there for him. Has to be.
Yeah, Malikan straight to him. Everyone else can pick up their players as they come through, but that's the crucial one. We can't let him get off the chain, take those contested marks. Mally makes a big difference to how we structure up. And then we saw the difference with that Freo game, how McLean straightened us up. I think Malikan can do very much the same up back.
Yeah, up back. There you go. Yeah, so look, I mean, it's a tough one. How the hell... 30 plus games away from the SCG. God,
30 plus days. I think it's getting up to like the 6-week mark. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Absolutely nuts.
It's not ideal for fixturing in growing the game in Sydney. I mean, they've done so much work up there in the past couple of years and sort of gets undone when big opening round up there. That's so good. And then you're not there for 5-6 weeks. It's berserk.
You're dealing with the AFL, of course. What do you think it's, how it was pretty much capacity at every game last year? Do you think they drop off a little bit after the gather round performance?
It'll be hard to gauge this week.
Especially being a Sunday game.
And an interstate team, a lot of people away. I wouldn't read into it this week.
Yeah,
but,
it is Easter Sunday, of course.
So, look, to be determined, but... TBD. But, yeah.
Swans by how far?
Swannies by 2 snags. Really grind it out. I just hope we can get our game going a little bit more balance in our game. I think we saw us very desperate to take on the corridor on the weekend. I just want a little bit more patience. I think in those first few weeks, we didn't see the attacking enough.
Yeah.
And then it's gone a little bit too far the other way.
Well, I think a big part of it is, limiting. If we just... everybody needs to learn how to kick from Braden Campbell, right? Like Braden Campbell was born and grew up in an underground car park, and he was told to never hit the roof of the car park. That is...
Is that a true story?
You reckon Braden Campbell was born in an underground car park and taught to kick in an underground car park? You reckon that's a true story, Campbell?
It's a great sale. I like the theory in it.
But his dad, Braden's dad would get up every morning and say, "Now, Braden, don't you hit the bloody roof of the car park." And he'd say, I promise I won't, Dad. I promise I won't. As opposed to Aaliyah, who was told specifically to kick it to God in heaven because that's the only way he can kick. But we've got to lower our eyes going inside 50 because Aaliyah and Asaba, like the faithful said, will absolutely control the football in the air all
Intercept
day.
marking,
Because when you're dealing with a team like us who took one contested mark last week,
Yes.
it's going to be a problem, right? So that to me is our forward 50 entries is the key to us winning the game. Don't worry about the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And look here, if I was to pull apart our list, anyone over 6'2.5", throw yourself at some contests. Like we've got to improve this contested marking number. Key indicator this week as well. KPIs. Big KPI pod.
Big KPI pod.
So how far for you?
I reckon we win by 3 goals.
Very good. Very good. That'd be nice for the Sunday afternoon. Few days off. We can really enjoy the win with whatever everyone's getting up to with in their festive season.
You bet. Yeah, get some eggs into you. Now, we've got the other games. Let's have a look.
There's a Cadbury egg out there for
Cadbury,
you.
There's a red tulip out there for you. There's perhaps one of those big red chocolate footballs.
Yes,
that cost,
out there for me.
They cost $45. I might get you one actually, Deebs.
Very good.
This is on the Thursday.
Thursday
Brisbane
night
Lions versus the Collingwood Magpies. That's at the Gabbatoir.
Yeah, I reckon the Lions get this done.
Yeah, get it done.
easily.
Tag Wussy Boy.
Yeah, hashtag Wussy Boys. Wussy Boys.
Still trending.
Wussy Boys travel to Brisbane.
And who's the player? Who's the player from GWS? I think it is. He in his first 26 games has played at more venues than Scott Pendlebury has.
Oh yes, I saw that go around.
Absolutely berserk.
Yeah, I can't remember the player, but
absolutely berserk. Faithful. And that's enough. I won't say anything more about that. We move on, but that is a fact. North Melbourne versus Carlton, the traditional Good Friday game, which has traditionally been an absolute fizzer. And make no mistake, this Friday will be no different.
Carlton for mine.
For yours.
West Coast and Essendon, Optus, Friday night.
Oh, Essendon are no good.
No good.
West Coast are worse. Essendon. How many people will be at this game? Melbourne at the MCG taking on Fremantle.
Over under 10,000.
It'll be under 10,000, and this actually takes me back to the time myself and the host of the Sash, Rob Crawford, turned on the great Melbourne Fremantle game. I forget which year it was, but that was the worst game of football I've ever watched to date. And this hopefully won't be that bad, but geez, there's not going to be many people there.
No.
Easter Saturday, I think Fremantle will do a job on them.
Likewise. Adelaide and GWS.
Cracker.
Cracking game.
Cracker.
Saturday.
You don't rate Adelaide, do you?
Not as high as everyone else.
No, I'm going to say...
Form came to the fore on Friday night.
Yes, it did. They really don't know how to win, do they?
No, they don't know how to defend
games.
really well.
Yeah. GWS.
GWS.
Gold Coast, Richmond. Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. Yes.
And
Bulldogs and St Kilda Sunday night.
Now that's a hard game to tip in indoor footy.
I think the Doggies are playing really well, and just
still on demand as well.
Just quite not getting the results. I'm going to tip the Dogs.
Saints for mine.
For yours.
And the traditional Easter Monday. Probably first time it's been relevant in a while.
Yes.
Geelong and Hawthorn.
Cats ultra impressive.
Cats are scaring me.
They are. How Dangerfield keeps doing what Danger does is amazing. And I'm going to tip the Catters.
Catters. Very good. Well, what an enjoyable episode, Deebs.
It was good. It's all about lifting the morale.
We're a big morale pod.
We are. There's no two ways about that.
Big morale pod. And the players are big morale players as well. And we have an opportunity to lift the morale for everyone, provided we just get those little key things right. Just incremental uplift. It's a body of work, guys. It's making sure that everybody makes their opponent accountable. You take your opportunities and you don't bloody kick it to Alir all day.
Yeah, and I just really think there was some big lessons to come out of the weekend, and you really hope the coaching staff have gone to work, they've identified what's gone wrong, and if we see that incremental uplift,
that's right,
Madison Clark, that's what we look for, and that's what we can hang our hats on, is that we're making those improvements. But stick fat, faithful. We're up against it, but we keep battling hard. But this has been True Bloods. We are the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast, Madison Clark. We're number one in your hearts. We're number one on the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom up the potty.